Generation 5 brought us a bunch of new Pokemon. But even though they brought us a lot of awesome ones, they brought us some that just stink. So I'm going to count down what I think are the top 15 worst Pokemon of Generation 5. As much as I love these games, I hate some of the Pokemon it brought us. And yes, I am fully aware that Animal Guy and Unova 2 made their own countdown when they talked about what they thought were the worst Pokemon of Generation 5. But now it's my turn. Besides, there are a lot of Pokemon that I found to be really useless, yet they didn't have on their list, and that's fine, that's their opinion. But I'm just going to count down what I think are the worst Unova Pokemon. So, let's begin. Beat-Up. This Pokemon has the most overdone typing ever, normal on flying. Then it evolves into Tranquil and then Unpheasant, whose stats are okay, but you can only learn 3 types of attack moves, normal, flying, and bug if you count U-turn, but you might as well only count bug and flying. Because normal's never super effective against anything, so what's the point? You wanna know what really stinks? We only got 4 ice Pokemon in Generation 4, and the only one being a dual ice type was Kyurem. The other 3 were all mono ice types, those being Vanillix, Beartic, and Cryogonal. Vanillix may not look awesome, but at least its stats are awesome. Beartic was decent, and Cryogonal... what to say about it? Its stats are average at best. May have good special attack, but what's the point? It has low HP. Because its defenses and HP are bad, might as well hit it with 1 flame charge and it's dead. Are there any redeeming factors to it? Well, it does look cool, but that's about it. I love Dragon Pokemon. They are awesome, and they are really useful in battle. I hope the day never comes that we will ever see a bad Dragon Pokemon. There's not a single bad Dragon type out there. I stand corrected. Druddigon may have decent stats, but what do you expect from a Dragon Pokemon? Dragon Pokemon are supposed to have great stats. In fact, every other Dragon Pokemon, and I mean every other Dragon Pokemon, has better stats than Druddigon. Even the ones who don't have better stats still count because their evolutions do. And even though it has wings, it can't even use any flying type moves. Well, according to its Pokédex entry, its wings are supposed to absorb sunlight. So why can't it learn Solar Beam? It may be a mono dragon type, which isn't that common, but Haxorus is a better Pokemon in terms of stats. In my mind, Druddigon is actually not really good compared to other dragons. What can I say about Minccino? It may look cute, but it looks like a cross between cute and lame. And in the anime, it stole Ash's badges. Sound annoying enough? It gets worse because that's also unoriginal, because Ash's badges have been stolen actually quite a few times before in the anime. Then when it evolves into Cinccino, it looks even lamer, and its stats are below average. Its only good stats are its attack and speed, but all its other stats are bad. The only good things about them are that they're Chinchilla Pokemon, which is unique, and that they clean stuff, but that doesn't even affect the gameplay. Overall, these Pokemon stink. Ow! What's that horrible noise? And oh, it's that Pokemon. Beheeyem is a Pokemon I will not use. One thing, it looks more like a Steel type than the Psychic type. Beheeyem has the most ear-bleeding cry out of any Pokemon ever. Its HP, attack, and defense are mediocre, and it's way too slow. Its base stat total is also completely average. No wonder Caitlyn doesn't use it on her team, because it stinks. There are better Psychic Pokemon, let alone better 5th generation Psychic Pokemon. You know, this one is actually a tie between 2 really bad Pokemon. Throw and Sock. Really, Game Freak? Do you guys have to create horribly bad clones of Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan? They may have worse stats, but at least they were usable back in the 1st generation. But Throw and Sock's base stats are, like I said about some of the other Pokemon earlier, are below average. If you want a true fighting type on your team, use Mienshao or Conkeldurr. Out of all the Rattata clones, Patrat has to be the worst. It looks plain freaky. That doesn't sound too bad, right? Well, even when it evolves into Watchog, it's still useless. Lillipup is found in the same route, and also evolved not once, but twice, unlike Patrat. And Watchog's base stat total is only 420. What the heck? Its best stat is attack, which is just okay. And even though its Pokédex says it can spit seeds, it can't learn Bullet Seed. Chansey was an awesome Pokemon, but why did they have to rip it off with Audino? Audino is a Chansey clone with worse stats and no evolution. Its HP may be great, but its base stat total is poor. Wanna know what's really annoying? You'll see a moving grass patch thinking you'll come across a rare Pokemon, only to find Audino. The only good thing about finding it is that it gives a lot of experience when you defeat it. Gives you more of a reason to want to defeat it, doesn't it? Really, Game Freak? Do we have to get another water flying type? Let alone another duck? Typing at least makes more sense than both Farfetch'd and Golduck because ducks can swim and fly. But that is not an excuse. Swana's stats are really poor overall, and the only moves it can learn by leveling up are water and flying moves. Now thankfully, it can also learn some different type moves by TM, but only normal moves and Ice Beam, not counting Hidden Power, which gives a completely random amount of damage. I'll admit I did use Ducklet on my team, but that's because I didn't know it was bad. Once I found it was bad and evolved into Swana, I still used it on my team, but the only reason I still used it was to use Fly. But now, I don't need it anymore to fly, because I got better Pokemon that can fly, so Swana is useless. Oh no, not the Woobat line. These Pokemon give Zubat a bad name. At least they had a unique typing and an awesome final evolution. The Swoobat line is Psychic Flying, which we've seen already. Not to mention, the same generation brought a better Psychic Flying type. Swoobat's base stat total is horrible. All of its stats stink except for its speed. The only way to evolve Woobat into Swoobat is by taming, which can be really annoying because you don't know if it's one level away from evolving or not, and you'll be like, evolve already! At least Crobat was worth it. Swoobat is not! Plus, every other Psychic Flying has better stats in terms of final evolutions. Woobat may look interesting, but Swoobat looks stupid! What ticks me off is that Skyla, one of my favorite Unova gym leaders, has a team consisting entirely of useless Pokemon, those being Unpheasant, Swana, and Swoobat. These Pokemon are plain unnecessary. Okay, now that's on my system. I'll talk about Pokemon that are actually necessary and why they're necessary. A Dark Fighting type. Very unique typing. A Zebra. That's a very unique appearance. A giant sand cloud Pokemon. Utterly powerful. A second Cactus. It's necessary because, can someone help me here? Okay, Maractus is another example of a Pokemon that is completely unnecessary. Even Swoobat's more necessary than it. May have good special attack, but speed, HP, and defenses are bad. So sometimes it won't even be able to attack because it'll die quickly. And since it's found in a sandstorm area, and it's not invulnerable to sandstorms, it makes me wonder how it survives the sandstorm if the sandstorm can affect it. And if you send one in battle that has a Storm Drain ability along with a water Pokemon and use a water move, you won't be able to use it because it will be drawn towards Maractus. If it has the water absorb ability, it heals from water. But why would anyone use water moves against a grass Pokemon anyways? It may be the only grass Pokemon to learn Peck, but that has no use because Peck is a completely useless move. It's also unoriginal because we already have a Cactus Pokemon that evolves into a Pokemon that's both a Cactus and a Scarecrow, has better stats, and a rarer typing. Maractus is completely lame. Does it have any redeeming factors? Well, I must admit, it makes me happy that I use Superior much more than it. There are a lot of things that got me excited for Generation 5. One thing was that Luvdisc was finally going to get an evolution. But unfortunately, that was a lie. Game Freak, why did you deceive us into thinking that Luvdisc would finally get some credibility?
Aw, they like pissing you off.
You bet they do! If that wasn't bad enough, its base stat total, 470, is below average, and most of its stats are HP, which is completely pointless because its defenses stink. Especially its special defense, which is really horrible. Might as well hit it with one special grass or electric move, and it's down. Even its speed isn't good. Come on, a slow fish? Why, Game Freak? Why? Purloin is the only bad Dark-type Pokemon in existence. While I do love cats, what the heck were they thinking when they ripped off Glameow, which was already a ripoff of Skitty, which was already a ripoff of Meowth? A ripoff is bad enough, but why must we have a ripoff of a ripoff of a ripoff? I know I'm kind of showing hypocrisy when I act like a ripoff of Game Dude, who was an angry video game nerd ripoff. But even I wasn't a third-degree ripoff, I was only a second-degree ripoff. What else ticks me off is in the anime. Meowth and Oshawott fell in love with one, only to find out that it was another male. They were falling in love with another male throughout the entire episode, and they didn't even know it. That must have broken their hearts really badly. If that happened to me, I don't know what I would do. Its evolution as Liepard is still really bad, succeeding in nothing but speed. The only attack moves it can learn are Dark, Normal, Grass, Flying, Ghost, and Fighting. But the only fighting move it can learn is Rock Smash, which is one of the weakest fighting moves. It can pretty much only learn 5 types of good moves. And Dark and Ghost do very similar effective to most types, and normal moves are never super effective against anything, so that only leaves 3 types of moves. Grass, Flying, and the Dark Ghost combination. And why does Grimsley, one of the Elite Four, have one on his team? Every other Dark type is good, especially Generation 5 Dark types. It's a good thing I focused a lot more on my trusty Hydreigon when I played through Pokemon White. Oh no. Please tell me I don't have to talk about these guys. Fungus and Amoonguss are complete rubbish. They're completely unoriginal. Game Freak got so lazy, they made another grass poison type and another mushroom. Every grass poison type has better stats than Amoonguss. Even Roselia is better because at least it got an awesome evolution in Generation 4, which was before Fungus even existed. And even though Parasect and Breloom have worse stats, at least they were unique back in their generations. Fungus and Amoonguss are entirely unoriginal. What also ticks me off is that when you find an item, thinking it's going to be an item, but only to find one of these pathetic mushrooms. And its concept is also completely unoriginal, because Voltorb had that concept too. At least it looked awesome, and had a useful evolution. The Amoonguss line is pointless. It may have the highest HP out of any grass and poison types, but it's still going to die really quickly with its shameful defenses. Combining that with horrible speed, it will pretty much die before it even gets to attack, and its move pool is completely atrocious. The only useful moves it can learn that are actually super effective against anything besides Hidden Power are Grass, Poison, and Dark. So, despite having the best HP out of all grass and poison types, don't let that deceive you, because it's also the worst of all the grass poison types. They make me so mad! Ah! Okay, fine, maybe I should recap the list. Number 15, Pidove. Number 14, Cryogen. Number 13, Druddica. Number 12, Minccino. Number 11, Ear Bleeder. Number 10, the Fighter Wannabe Dude. Number 9, Paytrap. Number 8, Audino. Number 7, Ducklet. Number 6, Swoolback. Number 5, Unnecessary Cactus. Number 4, Deceiver. Number 3, Heartbreaker. Number 2, Unoriginal Pile of Mushrooms. Okay, I've calmed down now. Nothing can get me riled up again. Dang nabbit! Basculin is the absolute worst Pokemon of Generation 5. Try telling me you've surfed a lot in Generation 5 without running into Basculin over and over and over and over and over again. It even deceives you when you come across a water drop in the sea, thinking you'll get a rare Pokemon, but ending up with Basculin. But it's a different form. Awesome, right? Well, what's the point if they're both ugly anyways and have no other differences aside from appearances? His attack and speed may be decent, it has terrible HP and defenses. Not only that, but every other Magikarp variation was better. Magikarp evolved into Gyarados, which looked awesome and had great stats. Remorai's evolution Artillery was unique with the octopus thing. Feebas had a beautiful evolution with great stats, and even Lumineon, despite having the same base stats, at least looked decent and was somewhat dazzling. Basculin's move pool is okay, but completely unthreatening and annoying because it pops up everywhere. Now, Game Freak created this Pokemon because they needed another Unova Fish Pokemon, because they needed at least 3, for all they had was Stunfisk and Alomomola. But they could have at least had the Unova decks have classic Pokemon, or better yet, make Basculin actually useful, maybe even, I don't know, actually have it evolve. Also, Basculin looks like Carvanha, without the epicness, morphed together with the Rebuta Berry. That is just completely lazy. Basculin is the absolute worst Pokemon in the Unova region. It's unoriginal, useless, ugly, and pops up everywhere in the water until you get mad. I am Meta527ii, and I am out of here.